This is the Coach Tom Anthony Show on your home for Pitt State football.
To the near edge, and he's buried. Jordan Rogers was not fooled. Drops him back at the 11-yard line.
Highlights, insights, and what's next for Pittsburgh State.
Jalen Fuchs, far side return for Pitt State, has a sideline. Jalen Fuchs is going to go after a block punt for a safety. Pitt State special teams strikes again. Fuchs with a first career touchdown. It comes via kickoff return. It is 22-7. You got to be kidding me.
Here's the voice of the Gorillas, Eddie Lomshek.
Good Monday, football fans, and welcome to the Coach Tom Anthony Show. Eddie Lomshek along with Pitt State head football coach Tom Anthony. Playoff installment of the show, really the second playoff installment of the show. Pittsburgh State coming off the win at home over Chadron State this past Saturday to advance to the second round. The Gorillas will travel to Searcy, Arkansas, take on regional top seed Harding in the second round this coming Saturday. If you're with us on this Monday on our flagship 100.7 or through the KSHQ app, we're on a little different time. We're starting the show a little early today. We have men's basketball tonight, and so that pregame coverage will follow us. Pitt State Athletics will release the video installment of the show Wednesday at noon through their athletics YouTube channel, so be with us for that. Coach, Chadron State ball game, obviously incredibly hard-fought game. No surprise, you get to the playoffs. Every team has the ability, right? So, survive and advance, and talk about your guys getting a hard-fought win.
Yeah, I thought, all three phases, came up huge for us, on Saturday. Obviously, returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown, huge, a huge way for us to start the game. Knew it was going to be a little bit of a battle for us offensively. I mean, they were a really good defense and kind of presented a lot of different issues for you with multiple looks up front, multiple coverages, brought a lot of different pressures. But for the most part, I thought all day, our offensive guys did a pretty good job of handling all that and came up with some really timely possessions and timely scores for us.
Yeah, you get that opening kickoff return, you think, well, here we go, right? We're coasting now, but not to be that way. It's a long game, and Chadron didn't come all the way down here just to lay down because somebody had an opening kickoff return. But as that settled in to a tug of war to an extent, did you feel like as aggressive as they were on defense, you guys have been pretty consistent, that game could have stretches of that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I knew it wasn't, I knew coming into it was not going to be probably a very high-scoring game. They did a great job offensively of moving the football, taking time off the clock, and then defensively, again, they do a lot of really good stuff defensively. They're well coached, and I knew there was going to be some problems that would present themselves throughout the game. Thankfully, offensively, we held on to the football. We didn't give the football away. Did a good job of putting some drives together. Ran the ball, I thought fairly well against a team that has a really, really good run defense. So overall, obviously at this point in the season, man, every team that rolls out there is going to be a really good football team, talented and well coached.
Yeah, still a game you had some balance, not necessarily huge numbers. We've talked about that, the balanced offense, but the turnover thing. 12 takeaways in the last 4 games, and your plus 10 turnover margin in that stretch. How about that?
Yeah, defense has been coming up huge, and special teams. We got the special teams turnover a couple weeks ago against Northwest, but that's part of the game. That's something we stress each and every week is taking care of the football on offense and taking the football away on defense and moving forward. However far we get to move forward, we're going to have to earn it by taking the football away at times. So very proud of our defense and the defensive staff for the ability that they've been, generating those takeaways there the last couple weeks.
Also, I think the number, I want to say the last 4 games is something like 21 sacks. You're going to play a team this week that doesn't throw the ball much, period.
Yeah, there aren't probably not going to be any sacks this week.
Not a lot of straight dropbacks and things like that. But in this recent stretch, talk about your pass rush and the pressure and how that contributes to takeaways.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. And I think what's been really cool to see is we haven't necessarily had to come up with a lot of different ways to pressure to get to the quarterback. Those 4 D linemen have been doing a heck of a job, not just 4. I mean, we play 2 to 3 deep at every position. So those 10 to 12 guys that have been playing for us, the last month or so, have just been doing a great job in terms of pass rush and being able to generate some pressure on the quarterback, when we do get to those drop back pass situations.
The depth on defense, you've talked about that this year that you've developed, because here you had this really experienced secondary, and all of a sudden, I say all of a sudden, through the year, you've had some true freshmen really contribute back there. That defensive line, there were maybe some questions about experience, but I know you liked the depth, the number of bodies. That's a group that stayed relatively healthy. Is it a pretty typical case of your defensive line that Nobody has to play 60 plays, so when you're out there, you really let it rip.
Yeah, that's very advantageous. I mean, number one, like you said, you've stayed healthy. And at this point in the season, your availability, I mean, that's the best ability you can bring to the table is being healthy, making sure your body's ready to go each week. And obviously, we knew coming into the season, we had a couple older guys we knew we were going to be able to count on when you look at Jeremy Sharp and James Smith. But, man, we've had so many young guys that have really stepped up for us this year. Just, a lot of redshirt freshmen, guys like Elijah Morton, Kiro Martin, Osahanik Bevian, who had another block kick again. Saturday, I think that's number 5 or 6 on the year for him. A couple transfers. Tayshawn McDaniels has been having a great year for us at that defensive tackle position. Sam Holtz was a returner for us that had played a lot the last couple of years. That's been playing well. And then getting Eli Wilcox back. He didn't play for us last fall at that Leo position. So many, couple veterans that have done what we needed them to do, but then so many young guys, and a credit to Coach Everett for developing those guys in that room. They've really stepped up big for us.
I liken it to balanced scoring in basketball because you and I may have talked a couple of weeks ago as all conference came out last week, and we'll get to that because that was not out when we had our show last week. But is a situation where you look at some teams around the league, they have a guy with 120 tackles and 12 sacks or whatever it might be, that your guys have to buy into the fact that nobody might have eye-popping stats.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something I think that's so special about this group, so special about this team is we have a lot of guys, they don't really care about that individual stuff, right? I mean, they just want to win. I mean, that's why they came here to play in meaningful football games and to win football games. We probably could have a 1,000-yard, well over an 1,000-yard rusher if we wanted, but man, we're playing 2 to 3 different backs every game, and those guys are all bought in. Wide receivers, I mean, so many wide receivers have stepped up. I mean, no guy has 900 or 1,000 yards, but we got 4 or 5 guys that all have 300 to 600 yards, multiple guys in the tight end room, and then the same thing on defense. I mean, we're rolling a lot of different guys through there in the secondary, a lot of different guys up front. So just really proud of our group and the way they've kind of bought into that team mentality. And just each week, man, you just got to find a way to win a football game.
O-line, D-line, the O-line for that matter, you've kept that group together for the most part. So as we talk about the balance you've achieved on offense this year, how important is that to have those same 5 guys if you can?
Huge. Again, we kind of got bit by a little bit of an injury thing, about a month and a half ago. Had to play a couple different guys, but man, for the most part, that starting 5 has been a really good group for us this year. Obviously, a couple veterans that came back that played last year, but getting to see a couple new guys step up and have pretty good years for us has been pretty cool to see when you look at D. Graff and Kobe James at both the tackle spots, Pecco stepping in at that right guard position. So to see that group gel the way they had, and again, another credit to OG. I mean, Bill Blyle, we talk about him a lot. He's been coaching football longer than I've been alive. So having a guy in that room to lead them, I think, is critical as well.
Not just those front 5, but you go to your heavy package, right? And there goes Quentin Bradley running out there or some of that stuff. So when you go to an extra O-lineman, how beneficial is that to a young guy like Quentin just to get any snaps on a Saturday? It's
huge, just to be able to get him some experience, and he's going to be a guy as we move forward into the future, for years to come. That's going to be a big part of our offensive line group. And Quentin Bradley actually got to play last year in the Harding game as a D lineman. We were kind of so depleted coming into that game last year. We actually dressed 2 true freshman offensive linemen that game to help us on the defensive line. So Q got he came to us after that game and said, I don't ever want to play D-line again. So he's settled back home right where he belongs on the offensive line.
3 games, you can play in up to 3 games and maintain that redshirt status at the Division II level. Coach Wright certainly tapped into that. You have as well. I have to assume that's something you were all in favor of when D2 passed that legislation.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I mean, to get those guys some experience, just whether it's a couple games, we were able to do that last year with both Elijah Morton and Kiro Martin, who are both redshirt freshmen for us now, but played in a couple games and got some experience. This year, we've been able to do it with a couple guys, but we've also had to play some. I mean, we've had some true freshmen that are not going to get their redshirt year that have had huge years for us. You look at Damian Long on offense, Quincy Minor and Quentin Kirby both on defense for us in the defensive backfield. So, there's been some true freshmen that did lose their redshirt year this year that have been huge contributors for us as well.
How difficult is it to project whether or not a true freshman can really play and contribute and be a factor at this level?
Yeah, I think right away, probably within a week or 2 of fall camp, if they have to me, it's more the mental part than the physical part. A lot of times, especially at those skill positions, they have the skill set to help you right away. But can they mentally handle everything? And guys like Damian Long, Quincy Minor, and Quentin Kirby. Q Kirby was kind of ahead of the curve because he early enrolled. So Q was here in the spring and went through spring ball for us, and we knew right away, about halfway through spring ball, that he was going to be a guy that we probably wouldn't redshirt, and he was going to be a big contributor for us. And then obviously with just kind of the depth in the cornerback room, knew that we might need to have one of the true freshmen play for us, and Quincy Minder's done a great job for us all year. So.
Yep, it's a big world out there, and it's easy to go to fall camp first week, and you can see who the true freshmen are, and you think just however many months ago they were the man, right, at their school, but it's a pretty good eye-opener with that. Coach, Thanksgiving break, you knew Saturday the playoff game was not going to be quite the same atmosphere. Campus is empty for no classes in this week, so obviously still getting to play at home, sleep in your own bed is nice, and we love Carney Smith Stadium, but how much did you anticipate your guys, and the opening kickoff helps, right? Create your own enthusiasm when you knew you probably weren't going to quite have a full house.
Man, I tell you what, though, the couple people I've talked to, I don't know what our number was. I think we're just right under 5,000 people, and that was probably was definitely our smallest home crowd of the season. But man, that was like one of the loudest that stadium has been all year. So a credit and a testament to all those folks that showed up, man. And it was, that opening kickoff when he took that thing back, it was loud in there, and it was loud all game, and not a single seat was less at halftime, right? All those folks were there in the second half, and that was a huge part of our win. The student section was incredible again, and our fans were incredible. So even though it probably was our smallest crowd of the year, that was outside that Grand Valley game, that was probably the loudest I'd heard the stadium all year. So it was a really cool atmosphere, even though there might have been a couple thousand less people.
Coach, 10 straight wins. That's not easy to do any level of football, and never mind. And we talked in pregame. Yourselves and Chadron both started this season 0-2, but we're very proud of the MIAA. Of course, you had a Grand Valley team in there that you beat in non-conference. So, again, you go back to this group. How about overcoming 0-2 with 10 in a row to stay alive?
Yeah, just like I say every week, just proud of them. I'm proud of our leadership. I'm proud of all of our guys, our coaches that have just kind of stepped up. And there was a lot of self-assessment and reevaluation that we kind of had to do, after that second week loss at UCO, and changed a couple things in how we were practicing, how we were preparing, and again, it's paid off, and it's gotten us to this point right now. And what a great challenge again, this Saturday.
Pitt State wins it over Chadron. We'll obviously go a lot more through the game on the coming segments. 21-17, hard fought, ended up being a come-from-behind win for the Gorillas in the fourth quarter, so we'll go all through that and eventually look forward to this Saturday at Harding. Up next, we're going to have our player segment. Quarterback Jackson Berry will join us on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
The Silverback Fund just helps us go above and beyond to be able to be the best in the MIAA.
You see it as a financial investment, but it's really an investment in people, which is what Pitt State's all about.
We recruit at such a high level. We are competing against a lot of Division I's now. What's going to set us apart and have us in the conversation is the financial part of it.
We couldn't have this success without individual donors, without the community support.
If you're on the fence about giving, come out to games, look at the athletes, and see what kind of experiences they're getting.
Welcome back to the Coach Tom Anthony Show, our player segment, per usual here in the second segment of the show. Eddie Lomshek along with Pitt State quarterback Jackson Berry in here for a second time this season. We've obviously been through 11 guys this year, and so Pitt State with the playoff win over Chadron State will circle back around and start talking about things, because things have changed a little bit throughout the season as far as the team developing and players doing different things. So thank you for being here, you guys. First of all, obviously the playoff win. It's a survive and advance time of the year. 10th consecutive win. Where would you start in describing this team still playing despite that 0-2 start?
Just the standard and expectation of why we all came here and why we all came to work starting in January was to be playing still right now. So that's probably what I would say about the team is we started off rough with some adversity, got hit in the mouth, but what are you going to do when that happens? And we answered the bell and we're still standing.
For you as the trigger man for this offense, you guys have had really good balance. The run-pass balance is very good right now. Let's start with that run game. And a number of guys have contributed, but for the most part, Zamari and Cleo, a two-headed monster a little bit there. As a quarterback, what's that like knowing that you have a good run game and there's not as much pressure on the passing game? Yeah,
it feels great just to be able to hand the ball off to the back and let the O-line, tight ends, and running back work. And can't skip over the fact that the perimeter blocking from the receivers has been phenomenal so far this year. That's what takes a 20-yard run into a 40-yard run, which we've seen multiple times from Zamari and Cleo do. So it takes the whole offense, but it just takes a lot of pressure off the pass game, like you said, to be able to give the ball to the back and get forward whenever you want to.
And the offensive line, how helpful is it that you've been able to keep those same 5 guys healthy for the most part and play the majority of the snaps together?
Yeah, it's huge. Those guys being able to just keep on getting more and more comfortable with each other game in and game out. Different looks. I mean, I don't even know the amount of defenses we've played this year with different looks than what we were even expecting on that day. So just them being able to have confidence in each other, to communicate and trust each other through adversity and still be able to play hard in the fourth quarter, it's everything.
Zamari is a great story. Wasn't here in the spring, over the summer, and you could see early in the year he obviously had catching up to do as far as the playbook, the subtleties of all aspects of it a little bit. He ends up leading the league in rushing. How good a story is that guy?
Yeah, it's a great story, but again, I think it's a testament just to the whole team. You know, not one person can rush for all those yards, so it takes everybody, but obviously Zamari's one great player, and we need him.
What do you see from his ability as far as just, different build than Cleo? What do you see from Zamari as far? How would you describe his skill set, I guess?
Yeah, I think with Zamari, the thing that saves him is his feet, how quick they are, and he's able to recover off a bad step when he needs to and hezzy and then burst somewhere and make a linebacker miss that's unblocked. I mean, in college football, there's always going to be a guy unblocked. So it's the running back's job to earn his scholarship that way and make him miss. And I think Zamari does a great job of setting that up in the backfield and then being able to get the advantage with his quickness and then his burst back out of it. I mean, there's not one guy that I've seen being able to tackle him, so I think that's his strong suit.
Pitt State quarterback Jackson Berry with us on our player segment of the Coach Tom Anthony Show. The Gorillas off a hard-fought 21-17 win over Chadron State, Nebraska, first round of the playoffs, headed down to Harding, Arkansas this weekend. For you, you're a great story in your own right because you come here in the spring and yet you were limited in the spring because of a knee injury, and so it's up to you over the summer to put in extra work with the guys. I know you stayed here in the summer. Talk about your development, I guess. Where do you feel you are now compared to back in August when camp opened?
Yeah, well, when camp opens, I haven't been able to do anything for the team yet or show what I can do, so everything's still up in the air, and, the offense isn't mine at all, the team's not mine at all, so I'm still coming in with my head down just trying to earn a spot, and I think where we're at right now is we're going into week 2 of the playoffs, and, I've got to be able to do what I need to do for the team, whatever it is that week, whether it's pass, run, hand the ball off, RPO. I think the coaches have more trust in me to be able to do what I need to do that week, and every week's different, like I just said. So I think they just have confidence in me to be able to execute what I need to do that week.
Give people an idea. You're, through the week with yourself and offensive coordinator Kevin Blau, the discussions that take place when you're game planning for an opponent and kind of making sure you're on the same page as far as what you see from that opponent and what you're thinking for the game plan.
Yeah, it's constant communication, 7 a.m., 10 p.m. at night. Whenever you see something on the film you're watching, you never hesitate to shoot a text over, shoot a call over. I think that's the best thing about it is I don't have to feel any sort of way of like I'm doing too much reaching out. I bug him more than he bugs me a little bit, just saying, did you see this? Did you see that? How do you like this? So, and he does a great job of being patient with me just because of how much it is. So it's everything, the communication on what he sees and what he wants out of a play, and so that I know I'm seeing it the same way he is, and the same way we don't have to get out of character, get out of our body on a certain play. We can just play within the offense. So,
for you, it's a tremendous honor. First team All-Conference and Offensive Player of the Year. And, there have been years when certain guys have bigger stats than that. I know how you're going to answer this, but talk about getting that nod from the other coaches in the league.
Yeah, it feels good. I think the only reason it feels good maybe just because of the work you put in and some of the adversity you face. But again, everyone's put work in and everyone's faced adversity and gone through what they need to go through. So it feels good. But again, I think what you're pointing to is that it takes a whole team. Our receivers have stepped up, our O-line stepped up, our running backs have stepped up tremendously, and not just the offense, but our defense being able to win games for us and our special teams unit being able to win games for us. I mean, it's probably an honor just for the champion's quarterback, but it's really a whole team effort.
You mentioned the receivers because early in the year, I think first 3 games of the year, Karan had touchdown receptions from you. And then there was a stretch where it seemed like Grayson was having 4 to 8 catches a game. But how about the emergence here last couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks maybe, of TJ Atkins?
It's unbelievable. It's just a testament to how he comes to work every single day and keeps a level head on his shoulders, because whenever you're not getting the rock week to week, it's frustrating. Whenever you can do what you can do. And, when you keep your head in the right spot and you stay optimistic and you see the future and you see the brighter picture, that's what happens. You emerge in the later weeks. You emerge whenever the team needs it. I mean, he took the first play of the game to the end zone.
Yeah.
You know what that does to a team's mentality going into the game. So.
You guys go down to Harding. They've just been on a tremendous run in recent years. I don't remember what I read. They've won 47 of their last 48 games or something ridiculous, 45 of 48, whatever it is. So top seed in the region, number 2 nationally. You go down there. Other than Central Oak, Ferris early, Ferris good team. Central Oak wasn't a great game, but you've been a good road team since you've had to have it, right? We've been in this playoff mode. What's it take to be a good road team?
Focus, discipline. Keeping the main thing, I would probably say, was a lot of distractions. Even at a home game, there's a lot of distractions, but on the road especially, and just, knowing why you're going on the road is probably the biggest thing. And then on top of that, just playing for your brother. We're out in Arkansas. We're by ourselves. It's just us. We got who we have, and we're all we need. So,
Harding came in here last year, and they put it on the Gorillas in the first round. I know you weren't here last year, but talk about this team and just your chances. Do you like your chances that, given the makeup of this team, to go down there and keep this thing going? Yeah, you probably do. Yeah, I think he does. And so that'll be awesome to see. Hey, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
Great job as
Appreciate
always.
you.
Keep up the good
Thank
work.
you, sir.
Jackson Berry, Pitt State quarterback, with us on our player segment of the Coach Tom Anthony Show. We'll take our next break. Coach will rejoin us on the other side. Eddie Lomshek back with Pitt State head football coach Tom Anthony on our weekly show off the playoff win over Chadron. Coach just had our player segment. Jackson Berry, your quarterback, and obviously a one and only year player for him. Comes in this past spring, lo and behold, a knee injury. He's not available much of spring ball. Has to do work over the summer, build the relationship with the team, and in particular the chemistry with the receivers. And we'll get to the all-conference stuff in a little bit. But, boy, how about him for a one and only year player for you?
Incredible. And, he's just – I could talk for hours about the impact he's had on our football program, not just as a football player but as a leader. Again, talk for hours, man. That kid's incredible, the way he just came in, bought into our culture, bought into everything. And, unfortunately for him, he did miss spring ball. So I think you saw some growing pains maybe with him kind of in those first couple weeks of the season. Again, just getting comfortable within the offense, how KB calls a game, getting comfortable with wideouts, how they run routes, how they're getting open. So again, he's just been incredible, and I think you've seen him as over the last couple months just improve each and every week. And I kind of liken him to like a Baker Mayfield, man. Like, he is just a football player. And he's a gamer, man. And he's a practice guy. I mean, he's one of our hardest workers in practice. But just the way he plays the game with kind of this toughness and this grit to him a little bit, he's a special player and has definitely been a huge part, of where we've gotten to at this point in the season. When
a guy comes in and he's a one-year player, and I don't care what level you came from, a situation where he could have some inhibitions about whatever. How would you say, how vocal is he as far as that? And I know other guys talked about when he first got here, man, he introduced himself to everybody on the team, all that stuff. But as the year's gone on, what have you seen from him in terms of being vocal at practice and on that side of things?
He was always vocal from the time he stepped on campus. I think where you've really seen him grow in the last couple months is more as a leader. He's now more willing to call guys out, if something's not right. But he has like the perfect personality you would want for a quarterback, man. He's got confidence, but it's not arrogance, and he's willing to put himself out there, take ownership of something if it didn't go wrong. And again, I just think he has such a great personality. He can connect with anyone from anywhere. And again, just a great kid, man. And on top of that, a really good football player too.
All season we have 10 teams in the MIAA, and he's been middle of the pack when it comes to passing yards and passing touchdowns. But he has the fewest interceptions in the MIAA. What's it say that league coaches voted him the offensive player of the year?
Yeah, I think it's just a testament to the impact he had on our team this year. And again, there wasn't, I look at our league last year in 2024, and you had 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league that all threw for 3,500. I think Zabrowski was around 5,000 yards. We didn't necessarily have that guy in the league this year, but I think what set JB apart from everybody else was, number one, like you said, his ability to take care of the football, didn't turn the ball over very often, and then his ability to win games, right? And that's a huge part of if you're going to be an offensive or defensive or special teams player of the year, you better be on a team that's winning football games. So if you're a really good elite quarterback on a team that's winning a lot of football games, you're probably going to be up for a lot of those postseason awards, which he was.
On top of that, the mental side of things, because you see his ability to extend plays, have the presence of mind to throw it away. And what separates quarterbacks to me, any level, is when the bullets are flying, right? That some guys handle that better than others. Talk about his acumen for the game and just, like I said, the ability to escape the pocket and have the presence of mind not to take sacks.
Yeah, I think part of that is just, I think his growth throughout his career. You look back at him in high school and was one of the best quarterbacks to ever come through, one of the best programs in the DFW area at Prosper High School. Then he goes to Southern Utah and FCS school and started 10 games for them, 2 seasons ago. So he's not, it wasn't like we were bringing in some kid that didn't have a lot of experience.
Right.
He has a lot of game experience at a high level, playing against really good competition. So for him, it was more, he just had to get comfortable within our offense, get to know our receivers, the O-line, how things operate, and I think you've really kind of seen him settle in, the last couple weeks.
Well, let's get to the game. This first half of the Chadron State game, it does start Atkins' 100-yard kickoff return, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, the receivers, the number of guys that have contributed throughout the year, but you look at the game he had at Central Missouri when you did not have Karan Parchman, the big play against Northwest, and now this kickoff return. TJ Atkins, he's on pretty good heater for you.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job the last couple of weeks and stepped up huge when we needed him to a few weeks ago at UCM with Karan out. And then obviously with Fuchsa banged up as well, he kind of slid into that primary kick return role for us as well. But I think you've seen probably the last 3-4 weeks his ability to kind of separate, and he can go, so if we can continue to find ways to get him the ball out in space, he's got the ability to take the top off and do some big things for us, and he's shown that, the last couple of weeks. And he's another kid, man, just a phenomenal kid. And the thing that always pops into my mind about TJ is we go back to the Emporia State game, and we're sitting there running the ball at a very, very high level, and he is on the sideline just going crazy, celebrating, getting excited, and he is screaming like, don't throw the ball, keep running it.
Yeah.
As for a wide receiver,
yeah,
to say something like that, that's pretty impressive. And again, I think that's just a testament to him. He's another kid that transferred and came in here, and man, just like JB, man, they just want to win football games, and are willing to do whatever they can to help the team.
Well, think about it too, because there are a couple of those guys that they're one-year players for you, right? So they're looking to finish their career on a high note, and so far it's been that. Chadron gets the ball at their own 25, and man, did they have a drive going. And when you looked at their offense going in, weren't sure about their leading rusher going to play, but they played a lot of guys there. They played multiple quarterbacks. Where did it start as far as dealing with maybe some of the unknowns you were?
Yeah, I think you got to, first of all, put a plan in place that's adjustable and can adapt to a lot of different things. And I think the defensive staff did a great job of putting a solid plan in place. And we knew that we'd get to warm-ups and have to look down there and see which guys were dressed, which weren't, and then potentially tweak some things. But they do such a great job offensively. They got a great scheme. They do a great job of trying to plus numbers up in the run game, multiple tight end sets, a lot of different jet motions. So again, they do a great job of presenting a lot of issues for you as a defensive team. And I thought for the most part, our guys handled that pretty well all day.
You mentioned see who's dressed, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention you can only dress 58 in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you're the home team or not. So talk about those decisions as the coach, and obviously you talk as a staff, and I guess it would be, even if you could dress 60, there'd be, well, who do you leave off, right? So talk about the decision-making that goes into that.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're so excited to get to the playoffs, but at the same time, you got to have some tough conversations with some guys that have been a big part of what you've been doing all year. Normally, we're going to, on a home game, dress 80 to 85 guys. On an away game, 75 to 80. So you have to have some of those tough conversations. And then at the same time, some of the guys maybe that haven't been quite as heavy contributors for you on special teams all year now got to step into those roles a little bit, when those rosters get condensed down. And again, just super proud of and then again, a lot of that's fluid week to week. Who's your opponent? Right? Who you playing? Well, we're probably not going to dress a lot of the same guys if we're playing a team like UCM, who's going to be empty, throw the ball 60 times, versus a team like Harding, who's going to run the ball 75 times, right? So that roster has to kind of remain fluid week to week throughout the playoffs. And again, super proud of our guys with just the way they handled it.
Well, Chadron has that time-consuming drive, but almost 5 minutes, you hold them to a field goal. So you get the kick return, all the emotions in the building. Talk about at least getting a half stop there.
Yeah, great job. I mean, anytime a team can get down near the red zone, the defense's goal is a field goal or less. So we were able to meet that goal and hold them to a field goal, which was huge at that point in the game.
And then you guys get the ball back, drive down, and missed a field goal. We go back to the right hash thing. So a game where offensively, again, you had balance, not big numbers, but obviously you had to settle for 3 field goals. Chadron has something to do with that. So at the end of the day, I'm sure you felt you left some points out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, always you can look back and say we could have done this better or executed this at a different level. And Austin Schmidt's been a huge, huge part of our success this season. We're not going to waver from ever sending him out there. And it's just one of those deals, man. Just had kind of an off day. And those days happen every now and then. It doesn't change his ability to make field goals for us and win us a lot of football games, hopefully moving forward.
MIAA Special Teams Player of the Year. We know how capable he is. So Chadron gets the ball out to the 20, get a first down, and then Jordan Rogers comes up with the first of your 3 takeaways on the day, and it sets you up near midfield. Unfortunately, you weren't able to cash it in, but Jordan with 2 takeaways on the day, 2-time first-team all-conference safety for you, and most of the time he's the smallest guy on the field. All he does is make plays, right?
Yeah. 7 special, man. I mean, he's been a special player here for the last 3 seasons. In my time here in 5 years, probably the most talented, best defensive player I've ever had the privilege of coaching. And he's a top-notch kid, man. Like, he is just a competitor. Like, that dude, coach whatever you need, right? I think we played him at will linebacker in the UCO game. And, so he's a guy, he has such a high football IQ. He could tell you what all 11 guys do on defense about every single play. And just is the ultimate competitor. And again, just a great playmaker as well.
Yeah, and it's as they say, he got some dog in him, and no
got some Waco, Texas dog in him.
Yeah, he's like a badger or a wolverine. Pound for pound, you don't mess with those animals. And so you guys get the ball set up pretty good on the Chadron side of the field at their 47. In fact, you end up missing a 54-yard field goal. Had that little bit of a north wind, so I'm sure you have conversations with the kicking team about how they feel going what direction?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We have those conversations, right as we come off the field there, right before we go into the locker room before the game starts, and we kind of write down, hey, where do we feel good from, going north, going south. And then obviously that can be fluid throughout the game as well, man. That wind can pick up or shift, and that might change what you're doing. But we're never gonna hesitate sending number 49 out there. He's a phenomenal weapon for us.
Well, the Gorillas missed that, so it's still 7-0. Chadron or 7-3. Chadron comes back, and they end up getting a drive, and you guys force a punt. You're pinned at your own 6-yard line. Where do you start with this drive? 14 plays, 94 yards, just under 7 minutes.
Incredible. Just a great job by the offense. Obviously backed up there, on the 6-yard line coming out. Your goal is to kind of get 1 or 2 first downs so you can have the chance to flip the field. So the fact that our guys were able to put together that drive, it's just incredible. And that goes back to kind of that complementary football, right? Maybe one of the 3 phases isn't playing well at the time. Well, somebody else has to step up and change the momentum for you a little bit, and the offense was able to do that.
That was the drive. I think Cleo had the longest run of the day, 23-yard burst. Mm-hmm. And so Chadron, they feel pretty good about this field position punt. So talk about the lift you get. Not only get a first down, but from your own 6, now all of a sudden you're out to the 30-yard line.
Yeah, definitely. Man, it's huge. Again, just great execution by the offense at that point. And, we kind of knew going in, like one of the goals offensively was just kind of control and take advantage of some of the chaos that they created on defense with all the different looks, the pressures, different coverages. We knew that they were going to make a couple plays, but we had to have the ability, though, to also exploit that at times. And on that drive, offense was able to do that.
Yeah, Pitt State ended up not, again, huge rushing numbers, but, Zamari 7.4, Cleo 5.7. Cleo caps that drive with a touchdown run. So talk about when a team like Chadron they don't give you a lot of consistent looks in the box. Talk about attacking that with your run game.
Yeah, definitely, and a huge credit to the offensive line, right, and the tight ends for being able to, you can identify something pre-snap of what you think it's going to be, but then that thing can change post-snap in a hurry. Start moving D linemen, bringing backers, giving you different looks. So there's a lot that goes in, for us to be able to run the ball the way we did. Huge credit to the offensive line, the tight ends, to be able to identify that stuff pre-snap and then adapt, post-snap to how that picture might change for you.
So you go up 14-3, Chadron gets the ball, and they get the ball out of the locker room. So this is one of those situations, a chance for back-to-back possessions. Big O steps up and blocks a field goal. How about that lift going into the locker room?
Huge, man. I mean, that's that dude. I think that's number five.
Fifth block kick of the year.
Five on the season. Just his ability to just be able to press that back right there. He just kind of has a knack for getting his hand up right at the right time, and has been able to get that big old paw on a couple kicks this year. And that's a huge asset for us. Anytime you can keep points off the board, man, that's a huge win for your defense.
There's a rule there, right? You can't just plow over the long snapper. So talk about interior guys, A-gap guys on your block teams, what they have to know so they don't get called for a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, they got to stay out of the framework of the center, obviously, and the refs are usually pretty good. If the ref feels you're a little tight, they're going to walk down in there and kind of pat those guys on the side a little bit to get them to move out. They usually help with that. Even when we're kicking, I mean, you see refs come down there all the time and they'll just kind of pat that guy so he moves out a little wider. But again, you just got to be able to play low, and that, to me, that's just a toughness play, man. Like, are you going to out-tough the dude trying to block you and get some pressure back there in the backfield? And he's done a great job for us this year.
Well, and it's not like he's a 6'5" guy, right? I mean, he's got that run plug build, but you understand if a guy's 6'4" or 6'5" and gets that paw up, but Osahan gets that push, and man, that's a lot of points off the board the Gorillas have kept this year. 14-3, they're getting the ball out of the locker room. What was your biggest message at halftime?
Yeah, just 0-0, and we had to start fast there in the second half. Started fast to start the game. Obviously taking that kickoff back to the house, and just coming out of the locker room having that 0-0 mentality. And we got get one is kind of our mentality. Well, we got one half, now we got to go get another one, and just always start fast. I mean, that's always the message coming out of the locker room.
Well, the Gorillas would do enough. 14-3 lead at halftime. Needed a bit of a comeback, and a couple of more takeaways were pretty big for the defense. We'll take a break, come back, go through the second half, and I look forward to this Saturday when Pitt State travels to Harding, Arkansas. More of the Coach Tom Anthony Show right after this.
This isn't just where you go to class. It's where you chase what's possible, where grit isn't taught, it's lived. Every drop of sweat writes the next chapter in Gorilla history.
In front of a raucous John Lance Arena have won it.
This is pride. This is your future. This is Pitt State.
The faculty of the school, there's where the students get the inspiration.
Welcome back to the Coach Tom Anthony Show. Eddie Lomshek and Pitt State head coach Tom Anthony with you. We'll go through the second half here of the Chadron State game. So Gorillas were up 14-3. Eagles are getting the ball. Coach, you mentioned start fast. They're getting the ball. So defensively, bottom line is keep them off the board. So they get one first down, and this is where the game kind of settles into a tug of war a little bit. So talk about at least forcing them to punt that opening possession.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's the goal coming out of the locker room if you're on defense. Force a punt or take the ball away. So our defense was able to do that and get the ball back to our offense, which is exactly how you want to start the second half.
Eventually they hit a couple of big pass plays, and they had their go-to receiver, Thomas, number 4, that had one big catch. He ended up getting hurt late in the game, and he wasn't out there their last series. But we talked about, they spread the wealth in their run game. That guy had like 3 times as many catches as anybody else on their team. What were your thoughts of their passing game going in?
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job. I mean, he was one of the more explosive guys we saw all season, and for the most part, I thought most of the game we did a pretty good job of handling him. I think the one long pass he had, Jalen just kind of lost his footing there at the top of the route, and what a play by Reggie King to run that thing down. Because I believe on that possession, Reggie runs that down, tackles on the 12. Well, then I think they scored their touchdown on like a 4th and goal situation, if I remember right. So that was a huge play by Reggie to not give up on that, get it tackled, and at least give us another opportunity defensively to try to get a stop there. And then I believe they threw the touchdown. They just threw a fade ball to him on 4th down, and it was right there as a bang-bang play. I challenged it just in hopes maybe that they could see maybe he didn't have control of it, but that's how it goes sometimes. But, yeah, he was a heck of a player, and I thought for the most part all game our guys in the secondary did a pretty good job of handling him.
Couple of things with the playoffs this year. I probably should have came back to this at the start of the game, but there were challenges by both teams. They lost a fumble. They challenged it. It was overturned. They got to keep it. And then this touchdown, I think on the touchdown, we have the same Sky Coach technology up there in our booth that Smitty does on his iPad. And so I think it just came to where they just couldn't quite tell. But this is the first year there's replay in all rounds of the postseason. I think all conferences in Division II now have at least some level of it. So is that something you're for because we play with it all year?
Oh, definitely. That's a huge asset for us. And at that point in the game, even our guys in the box were kind of like, Coach, I don't think he has control. Maybe he does. So I knew it was going to be a 50-50. But at that point, 4th and goal,
yeah.
at that point in the game, you might as well try and see if you can get it overturned and back in your favor. And great catch by him, great throw by their quarterback. And again, I just don't think whether it was complete or incomplete really doesn't matter. Obviously, there has to be indisputable evidence for them to overturn it, and there wasn't. So good job by them of driving down and scoring a touchdown.
So is it right in our league? Does everybody have 4 camera angles? Is that right in the MIAA?
Yeah, MIAA is 4. So at our stadium, you have the wide angle above the press box, the tight angle above the scoreboard, and then there's 2 cameras that run straight down each end zone line.
Okay.
Every place for the most part, other than the wide and the tight, kind of pick where they want to put their other 2. So it's not consistent within our league that everyone's is on the goal line.
Okay.
Some might be in a corner shooting down. But for us as coaches, we don't get all 4 angles. We only get the wide and tight angle.
Okay.
Only the officials get to see all 4 angles when it does go to replay. So you kind of got to take that into consideration too of what kind of camera angle do you have, depending on if you're going to challenge something or not.
And so typically, is that if you go to another place, is that explained to you beforehand that, hey, this is where their cameras are?
Oh, yeah. You get they always give us a card. In the MIAA, at least, you get a card. The refs will give you a card before the game that shows you exactly where the 4 cameras are, so you kind of know that going in.
Yeah, and it's again, this is not at the next level where they have 15 cameras around the stadium and the high def stuff. So because I know expanding that picture of that guy catching the ball, it gets kind of grainy.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and they're maroon pants, and where's the ball exactly? Did it hit the ground before you hit the pylon? So yeah, part of it, but worth the challenge. So Chadron scores to pull within 14-10. Nice drive by them. Had the big play, 60-yard play, set them up, 4th and goal. Had to make them earn it. You guys get the ball back. You have a drive going. You stall. You get on their half of the field, fake punt, right? So you've rolled the dice on some of these. They end up having one later that was probably kind of ill-advised. But talk about everything you consider there in a 14-10 game to call that fake.
It was a bad call by the head coach, Eddie. Looking back.
It was a conservative play call for the situation.
You just kind of got to take those things into consideration. That call was made by me more out of frustration than anything. Just wanted to try to generate something and get something going. You also kind of got to take into consideration where you're at on the field. We can punt that thing away right there. You're going to tag it with a pooch punt. You might gain 20 yards of field position, maybe 30 if you're lucky. So it's kind of one of those deals, man, where we're going to go for it and didn't quite get the look we wanted. So that's a coachable point for me too, to talk our punt team through maybe how we want to handle that situation in the future as well if we don't have the exact look we want there. But again, blocked it up pretty well. They just kind of had a bonus hat out there that we couldn't pick up, and great job by them of stopping the fake punt at that point. Yeah,
Luke made the one guy miss, and there was the stiff arm, and then there is that bonus hat, that extra guy that unfortunately couldn't get around him. So Chadron takes over at the Gorilla 45, or at their own 45, good field position, and right away they went up top. That's not uncommon, right? Sudden change of momentum. It was not their leading receiver. It was 84. He went up, high pointed that ball. That was a great play. So they get down there and score. So all of a sudden, you're 5 minutes into the 4th quarter, and now you're trailing for the first time, but all your team does is answer. This is not the first time you've been in this situation, right? What was there, Grand Valley, Hayes, maybe some other games. So how about your offense picking up your D there?
Yeah, it was a great job by them. And I think that's this team, I think, is battle tested. We've been in those situations before. Great job by the offense of responding there when we needed them to. And that was a phenomenal catch by that kid. Great ball right into a tight double coverage. We had our corner and our safety both right there, and that kid went up and made a heck of a football catch and a great play by them. And again, great job by the offense to pick us back up, and that goes back to that complementary thing, man. If one of the 3 phases, or maybe 2 of the 3 phases are struggling, you kind of need somebody to step up, and the offense did that for us.
On the drive for you guys, starts at your own 14-yard line, and you have 10 minutes to play, you're down 3, and you get 5 first downs along the way. 3 of them are third down conversions. A couple of those balls, just absolute darts thrown by JB. One was for sure to Grayson Holbert. So talk about those, third down plays, those are money downs, right?
Yeah, and they did a great job defensively. Those weren't being thrown to wide open receivers. Those were right into some tight coverage. Damian Long had a big third down pickup for us as well there. So great job by JB delivering a football to where it needed to be, and then great job by the wideouts of making tough contested catches. I mean, there was not a lot of, as I kind of went back and watched through the game Sunday, I mean, we did not have a lot of wide receivers that were just running open, and there was some really good tight coverage, and our guys had to make a couple tough contested catches throughout the day.
Well, Karan Parchman gets behind him, and I know going in there was a part of you liked the matchup of your receivers being able to get deep. So the go-ahead touchdown with 7.5 minutes to play, 28-yard pass. How about that throw and catch?
Yeah, great job by JB. I think we just kind of had a double move on, and Karan ran a great route, and then Jackson put a great ball out there for him, and then Karan made a great catch there in the back left corner of the end zone.
With their defense being so multiple up front and all the looks, then there are times, I think about some of the teams we played. Southern, they play deep. They're just not going to let you get over the top. What did you see from Chadron on the back end of trying to attack their pass defense?
Yeah, they did a great job of playing kind of a funky coverage. They played a version of cover 3, but really played tight man coverage a lot of times on the outside, but then played some zone coverage inside on your inside receivers, and did a great job of pattern matching stuff and passing it off. And again, we knew it was going to be tough, to get wide open receivers and to get good looks. But the times we needed to convert, JB threw some great balls, great protection up front. And then, we had some wideouts that had to make some really tough contested catches all day, and they did that when we needed them to.
So the Gorillas go up 21-17, still 7.5 minutes to play. So there's a lot of game for a one-score game. Chadron had gone 1 of 2 on 2-point plays, and so it was a 4-point game. They needed a touchdown, and then ensuing kickoff. How about pinning them at the 10-yard line?
Yeah, great job. I think our kickoff team, actually the longest return we've given up all year was early in that game on Saturday. But for the most part all year, our kickoff coverage unit has been pretty rock solid. And again, that's just a mentality, man. Those guys love that. They take pride in it. Hayden Kasicki's been doing a phenomenal job all year at kicking the football for us. And you got to have some dudes that want to run down there with their hair on fire, aren't afraid of contact, and then can make some tackles for you. And Orlandis Mitchell did a great job of getting that thing down right there.
Yeah, because he and Cam Gillespie were both in on really key plays on kick cover teams. 2 wide receivers, right, that buy in and are willing to do that. So snot knockers or whatever you want to call them, the kickoff team that runs down there. So they get a first down, first play of the series. Then they end up faking a punt from about their own 25-yard line, I think it was. So they run up in a tush-push formation. The punter ends up throwing a jump ball. So how about your guys not getting fooled on that?
They did a great job. I didn't think they were going to snap it, because had they snapped it to the guy that was under center, it would have been a penalty, because you can't get into an offensive formation without 5 ineligible numbers on the offensive line. Well, they actually snapped it through the kid's legs to the punter, which was, I'd never seen that before. So it was a pretty cool play that they drew up there. I was pretty impressed by it. We were able to get some edge pressure and kind of get in the punter's face and kind of force a bad throw, and then those guys did a great job, and Jackson Young made a great play there.
Well, the Gorillas get it back at the Chadron 37, so a chance, but you do take almost 5 minutes off the clock. You miss a field goal, which is really frustrating to get a 7-point lead, but so Chadron gets it back. But they had to empty the tank on timeouts. Their own 20-yard line, minute 47, and they end up, kind of throwing a hopeful ball up there on a 4th down. Jordan Rogers again with a play. So how about defensively, the mindset there? Less than 2 minutes, they're out of timeouts. They're throwing it every down. Talk about everything that goes through your mind as far as the defensive calls.
Yeah, nothing can get behind you. You got to protect the sidelines too, because you don't want them to get out of bounds. Totally different if they got timeouts sitting there. You probably don't have to protect the sidelines quite as much, because they're going to, they kind of have their whole playbook open. But you kind of know at that point they got to drive a long field with no timeouts. They're going to try to work some sideline passes, try to get the ball, to the sidelines, so they can stop the clock. But then the biggest thing is, man, just keep it in front of you, tackle it, and force them to have to make some good throws going down the field. Jordan Rogers, big game, his second takeaway. How about Blake Carr? 10 tackles, 2 for loss, and a forced fumble. Yeah, Blake's been doing awesome all year. I mean, he's a guy that really wasn't playing for us much the first week or two, and then we just kind of had to throw him into the fire. We knew we weren't going to be able to roll number 7 at Will Backer the whole season. He would, get broken in half eventually, but just kind of forced Blake's hand. I mean, we recruited him, out of Clyde, Texas. We had him on the show here about a month and a half ago. Phenomenal kid, phenomenal football player. And it's tough. It's tough for a redshirt freshman to have to come in and take on that type of role that he's taken on this year. And he's just done a phenomenal job. He's getting better each week, learning each week, and just finding ways. Man, he's a guy. always has a notebook, always taking notes. Coach, how can I get better? How can I improve? And, he's really grown a lot this season for us.
Chadron State, 34 rush attempts, only 75 net yards. That's a big stat. The Gorillas had 9 tackles for loss. They had 3 takeaways. You had 5 pass breakups, 7 quarterback hurries. So defensively, good game indeed, holding them to 17. We'll take our final break. When we come back, look forward to this Saturday. Pitt State will travel to Harding, Arkansas. We'll talk about the Bisons right after this.
Pittsburgh State University Alumni and Constituent Relations, engaging Gorilla alumni and friends through Gorilla gatherings, family events, programming, and a variety of benefits and services. Ride with Gorilla Pride in Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Personalization available in Kansas and Missouri. Honoring our Gorilla greats and their achievements with alumni awards. Find an alumni event near you or learn more about us at pittstate.edu/alumni. Once a Gorilla, always a Gorilla.
Welcome back. Final few minutes here, the Coach Tom Anthony Show. Pitt State headed to Searcy, Arkansas to take on the Harding Bisons. It is Bisons with an S. Obviously, they've been a premier program in Division II in recent years. Second straight year we'll play them, Coach. And they put it on the Gorillas pretty good in Pittsburgh last year. A little different situation. And, what happened last year. So both teams have some newness to them. But bottom line is it has to start with the dealing with their unique style, right? Under center, triple option. Things happen fast off the snap. So talk about trying to prepare for that during the week.
Yeah, you just got to be assignment sound. You got to play with some physicality. You're talking about they're the number 1 rushing offense in the country, and it's not by a little. I think they're averaging about 150 yards more per game than the number 2 rushing team in the country. I think they're right around 460 or 470 a game just on the ground. I think the number 2 team's at like 310. So they do a great job. Coach does a phenomenal job down there. Their scheme is tough. It's challenging. It forces you to have to be very, very disciplined if you want to be able to control it. So it'll be a huge, huge challenge for our defense. And then on the flip side, they're the number 1 scoring defense in the country right now. I think they're just giving up around 7 points a game. So very good football team, well coached. They got a ton of talent. And again, it'll be a great challenge for us.
Their quarterback, I think Saturday will be his 53rd career start. So when you talk about dealing with that option, finding the ball, but the fullback is a hammer. 6'1", 225, and he's over 1,500 yards rushing. So how much of it starts with you have to contain that fullback dive or fullback trap? Yeah,
you have to contain everything, and that's the biggest part when you start to play an option football team, man, is you have a job, you have an assignment, and you have to do it every single play because it does happen very, very fast. You can't have your eyes in one place then another, and it's not like playing a spread team where you just kind of got to see what's happening and then run fast. You got to be exactly where you're supposed to be every single snap or they will for sure find a way to expose you.
You mentioned their defense and for the mindset of your offense. So Harding's offense, they can have these 10, 12, 13 play drives. We know that, and they're going to take a half a quarter sometimes off the clock. When that happens, though, talk about offensively remaining patient and true to your identity so you don't play into their hands and maybe, hopefully have a bunch of 3 and outs.
Definitely. Number 1, you have to know going into the game that as an offense, your possessions are going to be limited. You're not going to get a ton of possessions. That's just not how their football team plays. They're going to limit the amount of possessions that you get offensively. So you have to do a great job of trying to take advantage of those possessions by putting points on the board first and foremost, taking care of the football. Can't give the football away. Can't allow them to take the football away from us when they're on defense. So defense has to play very fundamentally and assignment sound at a high level, and then the offense is going to have to take advantage of the limited amount of possessions that they're probably going to have.
Value the football. That's so big when you get in those games where you are going to have less possessions. You just played a team that was multiple with their defensive fronts and very aggressive. Is Harding consistent in how they line up on defense?
Yeah, Harding does a great job. They're kind of going to base out of a 4-2-5 alignment. They're very good up front on the defensive line, physical, fast. They have a really, really good inside linebacker, number 24. I think he's their leading tackler. Oh, yeah. He flies around. He reminds me a lot of Morgan Salamaya. Kind of an undersized kid a little bit, but boy, he rarely ever gets blocked. Just great with his body control, very physical, run sideline to sideline, and then they do a great job in the secondary of playing. They tackle very well in space, run to the football at an elite level, and that's probably why they're the number 1 scoring defense in the country.
Yeah, that kid's over 120 tackles. Yeah, you're right. He's like, you got this 5'9", 185, 190-pound build. So with that said, Coach, you guys go down there, and I asked Jackson earlier about being an elite road team. You know, you had a couple losses on the road, obviously, but there's something about just being on the road with yourselves. And so this team, talk about this as an opportunity. I know it's going to be a challenge, but how about the opportunity?
Yeah, I think, just blessed to still be playing.
Sure.
No matter where we're playing, whether it's at home, whether it's in Searcy, Arkansas. If you're still playing at this point in the season, number one, you're a really good football team. And number two, you got to be thankful for the opportunity to still be playing because there's only 16 teams left. So I think our guys are very, very thankful that we're still in this position. There's been a lot of hard work that's led up to this, but they know moving forward, every team we're going to play is in the same boat. They worked hard all season. They've played some really good football all season. They're well coached. They have a lot of talent. So just an opportunity to get to play another week is always fun. To being able to play late in November, or early in December, if you're still fortunate enough to be playing, there's not a lot of teams that get to do that. So I was just very thankful that we're still out there playing.
Yeah, you make the playoffs, it's a good year, but with every round, it becomes a more special year, and the margin for error gets smaller. All that stuff factors into it. So the Gorillas and Harding will hook it up from Searcy, Arkansas, Saturday in the second round. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Our coverage locally will begin with Mike Snow and Gorilla Game Day at 11 a.m. on 100.7 and through the KSHQ app. Network pregame coverage will begin at 12 noon. That'll do it for us this evening. Big thanks to Coach Anthony, for our player guest Jackson Berry. I'm Eddie Lomshek. Thanks for being with us, and go Gorillas.